Hey friends, welcome back to Cricut Can 2. Tired of spending money on stencils? I'll show you a quick Cricut hack that saves money and makes your ink blending look amazing. Today I'm going to show you how to cut your own stencil with Cricut and then use it for gorgeous ink blending to create handmade card that really pops. It's quick, easy, and way cheaper than buying stencils. So let's jump in and get crafting. I found this image and I thought this would be a really cute background for our fall card. And I decided, since it has multiple layers, to create it as a stencil. Now, we are going to use cardstock, but you most certainly can use this and cut it out on actual mylar or on an actual stencil material, but just for sake of saving money and time, because it does take a little time to cut out on actual stencil paper, I'm just going to use my cardstock because I'm just going to do it just this once, but you can absolutely reuse it over and over. The first thing I did is I created a square that was 6.5 by 6.5, and my design itself is 6 by roughly 6 inches. Okay, it's not quite squared, and I'm not too worried about that either. I purposely made it larger than an A2 card size so that way the pattern runs off of the panel, just to give that more of a professional look. And the process of creating a stencil with multiple layers is so simple, it's ridiculous. I already went ahead and did it, but I'm going to go ahead and do one for you and then kind of show you the results. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that the different elements are grouped, that they're not attached. Although if they are attached, it's okay. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is, again, create your square, size down your square, and then size down your stencil that you want to create. I am in my panel here on the right. I'm going to click on that expand. There are 7 layers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this 6 more times for a total of 7. So we have a total of 7. I duplicated it 6 times. I'm going to zoom in again. Okay, so what I'll do on this very first one is I'll hide every single one except for one of the layers. So I'm going to leave the leaves, the first layer, I'm going to leave that visible, but the rest I will hide. Okay, so now that I've done that, I will select both and hit slice. And what I like to do, just to make sure that I selected, to make sure the next one I know which layer I need to slice, I just will simply grab that and move it down, and then I'm going to click on the slice result and delete it. And so that gives me the slice result. Alrighty, now that I have each one done, I grouped them together just so that way if I need to hide them all at once I can, but it's not necessary for you to group them together. So what we'll do next is we'll get these cut out. So before we get this all cut out onto some cardstock, the next thing that I'll need to do is also create the sentiment. For our sentiment, I've already created this, and I'm not going to show you the process because the gist of this video was to focus on the stencils, but I do want to kind of explain something. I will provide the image number for both of the images here, and you're probably wondering, well, what are the images? And that's the So Very and Thankful. So Thankful is actually a separate image from the So Very because the So Very belonged with a different script, Thankful, and I didn't like it, and I loved this font for Thankful, so I just combined them together and created this little sentiment. Okay, and then I also created an offset. I believe the offset was 0.05. You really can't see it because my screen is white, but you can slightly see it here. Okay, I'm going to change it back to white, and so I did an offset so that way all I have to do is print it and it will cut out. And then the square I just created a square that I mean, look, it's a random number. I didn't really pay attention to that. But basically, I'm going to cut this border, all right? And then we're going to thicken that up, and we're going to add some vellum to this. So that way, you can see. So that way it's not going to be so busy with it, so very thankful. You'll see what I'm talking about once everything gets cut out. And I'm also going to ungroup this real quick. I'm also going to duplicate this 3 or 2 more times, I think. Oops. Because I want to use this to thicken up actually, I'm probably going to do it one more time. I just want to thicken up the border so there's a little bit of depth that goes on in my design here. And I could use foam tape, but I don't know if I have a thin enough foam tape because this is 0.12, so it's 1/8 of an inch thick border, and I don't know if I have foam tape that is that thick, and I really don't feel like cutting foam tape today to create a border. And so this is what I'm going to do. Now we could turn this into a really pretty shaker card by duplicating this quite a few more times to really build that border up. Maybe in another video for Christmas I'll do that. We'll create a shaker card using the Cricut, but right now we're just going to focus on just doing the stencil part. Okay, so now that I have my sentiment and the 4 rectangles and the stencils, I am ready to start cutting and getting this going. Off camera, I went ahead and got everything cut out. Now I will tell you that doing this process, it does leave a little bit of scraps, but you guys, I keep my scraps. Let me just show you. This is my scrap bin. I have like all my whites, and then this is all divided up by brand, the color cardstock, okay? So I use them often, and so it creates these scraps. This is going to be just fine because I will use them for my other cards. So don't worry about that. So that's just going to go right into my scrap bin. And then I have these all cut out, and I just need to cut out the vellum. I have not done that. Here's my print and cut. So very thankful. And then here are all the other elements that are the negative pieces that came from cutting these out. Okay, so you can use them to make a separate card. I'm not going to, but you can most definitely create that. I just wanted to show you that, so I'm just gonna bring my trash here and then throw it away. I don't need that. Alrighty, I went ahead and recut everything, and this time I'm gonna do a better job and pay attention to which orientation it needs to go. And plus I changed out one of the colors. I am doing scattered straw. There we go. Instead. Okay. And we'll just plop that. I don't care if the ink gets on the outside because that is going to get trimmed off. So it's not going to be a problem at all. Spiced marmalade, and we'll just start ink blending. Very good. And then we will lift that up, and then we'll get that off, and then we'll bring in this one. So again, making sure that I have the orientation the right way. Bundled sage. I love this color for fall time. I think it's just a nice muted green. Very good. I think that's good enough. Let's pull that up. Now, of course, if you care about what's going on the outside of your paper, then you're going to want to mask that off. But again, for me, I'm okay with it not being masked off. I'm going to bring out Rusty Hinge. I'm going to use the same one, and then yeah, that's a good one. Easy peasy. Oh, I like that. I like that with the yellow. I like that a lot. And then this one is going to be Scattered Straws. So this is the one I swapped out. I think it was a different orange. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. This is kind of like a few hours later. I had to stop the video. My daughter had a color run that her school was doing, and the parents were invited to well, not partake, but just to watch, and it was so funny. The elementary school, they had it divided up at different times for different age groups, and I had happened to catch the tail end of the first grade class, and oh my god, it was so funny. They did really good. They ran around the field in a circle, did an amazing job, and then my daughter was in the pre-K / kindergarten group. It was just chaos. It was so funny. Oh, but they sure did try. That's all that matters, right? Oh, she was so inky. It was so cute. Okay. Wonderful. Definitely fall-ish vibes, 100% going on. Alright, vintage photo is going to be the acorns. I'm going to bring in some black soot. Oh, shoot. So darken that up a little bit. Looks like a hot mess, but I think it's going to work. Okay. So let's put this away real quick. And let's take a look. Oh, that looks so great. Oh my goodness, I love it. Yeah, definitely really liked how that turned out. I was a little nervous, but it actually, yeah, it's really nice. Okay, let me get this cleaned up real quick. And of course you can reuse these stencils if you wish. I'm not going to, but you can. Oh, that's so pretty. Love it. Okay, and then, but you can totally reuse these until they're no longer reusable. But I think that's all I'm going to do for one card. A little bit of a waste, but hey, I got one really good card out of it, so I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to trim off a certain portion, excuse me, and just so that way this is going to be, it's going to look proportionate, because if I have this nice little border here and then you see this trimmed off, it's going to look all wonky. So I'm going to trim part of that off just to kind of combat that issue. So I'm just going to go something like that. Alright, so now what I'll do is, and I'll do the same thing here. This is why I made it a little bit larger, because I knew that I would do something like that. Okay, so now what I can do is, okay, so I'm going to do, to me the orientation's this way. I mean, I guess I could go that way, but this is just kind of where I feel like I'm at right now. Alright, so then I'll just make this at 4. Right? You know what? I am doing this, I'm doing it the other way. Or I could do it actually. Maybe I could do it. Yeah, I'll do it the other way. Alright, so then I need to make this 5 1/4. I'm going to do landscape instead of portrait. And then this is going to be, oops, I needed this to go this way. And then this is going to be 4. Yeah. There we go. There's our panel. Isn't that pretty? Love it. Since we're doing landscape, I have a panel that is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. So I'll score this at 4 1/4 because we're doing landscape, A2 size. So I'm recording this in September, about to be October, and it is still hot outside. I am so over this dang heat. Like, let's get some, and it's not unheard of. I mean, one year it was freezing cold. Well, I don't say freezing cold, but one year it was, I need to trim this down. One year it was cold. The other year was 2 years of Halloween that I remember here. It was hot, and I'm hoping, I see in the forecast that we're going to drop down to 78 by in like 5 days, so that could change. Probably we'll go back to the 90s, I don't know. Which 78 may not seem cold, but when you've been in the 90s for quite some time, it is cold, let me tell you. I think my northern card has to be revoked, because I remember one day we had a fairly cold day. I'm going to stand up and do this real quick. And I feel like, do we want to, I feel like this is the orientation. I remember I was talking to my husband, and I was like, oh, it was just like a month ago. No, it was a month, like a couple of weeks ago. And I was talking to my husband on my way to my car from work, and I was like, oh my gosh, guys, it is, or I was like, oh my gosh, it is so chilly outside. And so I get in my car to see what temperature was. It was like 79. Oh, my northern card has to be revoked for sure. Oh, as embarrassing as that is. All right, I went ahead off camera. I cut down some vellum. This is oh gosh, this is the Stamp Market. I love their vellum. And I went ahead and glued the 3 layers. But what I want to do next is glue this, and then I'll have that go on top. Okay. That looks good. Just bring out my glass block. Put some weight on that. Put some weight on there. My goodness. I'm a little tired. I'm tongue-tied apparently. This is gonna go like so. So this is an idea that you can think about doing if the background is busy. Put some vellum on it like this of some type of design that you like. It doesn't have to be rectangular, but you can do circles or whatever. And then that kind of, you know, tones it down a little bit for your sentiment. It looks so good. Oh my gosh. So you get out your Cricut. If you don't want to buy all the stamps and stencils and dies, you can use your Cricut. I hope these Cricut Can 2 series is inspiring you all to use your Cricut to make cards. And here is the card. Isn't that pretty? I love the subtle of the satin gold. I really think that bows well with just how matted the design looks. So I absolutely love how this card turned out. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you're enjoying this new series. I'm really enjoying the series altogether. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next card or craft video. Bye.